All right.
Welcome back to the Power Six podcast. Here's your host, Isaiah Rose.
All right, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Power Six podcast. This week, we have all six members of the Power Six group. We got Max, Headley, Bradley, Connor, Devin, and myself, Isaiah. We will react to last week's outcomes, preview week 5, and give our predictions for this week. Unfortunately, the other surprise that I had for you guys last week is not ready yet. Hopefully, we'll have that for you guys next week and introduce that to you guys. With that said, I'll go ahead and pass things off to Max with this week's agenda.
Thank you, Isaiah. Pretty standard stuff this week. There's no Husker game to react to, so that'll almost be kind of nice. But yeah, lots of games to react to. Another crazy week of college football. We'll have our tanks, we'll have our previews, and we'll give a nice little update this week on picks records, as well as locks and underdog records as well. So we've been trying to keep tally of that. But let's get into a reaction of this last week's results. I don't know if anything stood out to you guys, but there was a lot of crazy games. Michigan beat Maryland 34-27. That game wound up being a little closer than I thought. There were only 2 total penalties in the game when I was looking back at it, 1 for each team. Pretty disciplined game, but I think what ended up costing the game is Maryland had 3 turnovers. That can be pretty costly, but overall, I think Maryland looks like a pretty good team this year in the Big Ten.
Yeah, Maryland looks pretty good. I would say the score doesn't reflect the game. They kind of did a Nebraska type score last year of score garbage time and then have to get that last second onside kick. But they still look good, and I think who does Maryland play this week? Should be a good matchup, right?
Yeah, they play Michigan State.
Yeah, and I would not be surprised if they roll them, to be honest. Michigan State does not look good, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
I think it's surprising, Michigan barely won by 7 points because Maryland's normally not that good. And with how Michigan's been playing teams this year so far, I know they were non-conference games, but I kind of still felt like they'd be like Ohio State is in the Big Ten and just kind of roll over conference opponents. But I think it's very surprising. I'm kind of curious to see how Maryland will perform throughout conference play now. So.
Well, one of Maryland's touchdowns was a garbage time touchdown. So
Yeah.
It's not like Michigan didn't really roll them. They still beat them pretty good.
I'd still watch out for Maryland. Maryland, just because, both teams were 3-0 going into the matchup last week, and they played a really solid game. Like Max was saying, only 2 penalties for either team. So I think if they can continue to keep this momentum, they may be a team to watch out for here later down the line. And as far as Michigan goes, they were bound to have one game where they were kind of slow and looked just lazy, and I think that was this game. And I think they're going to come back out with a chip on their shoulder this week, and it's going to be a good one against Iowa.
And Max, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Michigan started a different quarterback this week, right? They did not go with McNamara.
Yeah, they went. I think that's right. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
Went with old JJ McCarthy.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
McCarthy. Good-looking guy. That's my thought on the game.
Great analysis there, Headley. We appreciate that. Yeah, Michigan's quarterback scenario kind of interesting, but they got a really talented team, so I think they can make 2. Next, we'll get into Clemson and Wake Forest. This game was all offense, kind of as expected, although I thought Clemson's defense would hold a little stronger maybe. But a double overtime thriller. DJ Uiagalelei, the Clemson quarterback, always fun to say that one, had 371 yards, 5 touchdowns. Sam Hartman, the Wake Forest quarterback, 337 for 6 touchdowns. A couple impressive quarterback performances there. And a really impressive game by Wake Forest. They were down 14-0 early, but stuck in there, hung around, and almost got the upset. Thought they could have done it.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite games to watch this weekend, I think, just because it was really kind of a shootout, and then it had to come down to the defense making a stop for Clemson in overtime. For Wake Forest to be down 14-0 and then kind of come back and control the majority of the game. After that, I think Clemson kind of fought from behind up until they tied it up to go into overtime. So that was just a very exciting game. I'm excited to see how Wake Forest does this week with another ranked matchup, and it's going to be a good one.
I was kind of disappointed because last week Clemson spread was my lock, and they only won by 6 points. Yeah. The spread was 7.5, so I was kind of disappointed to see that fall through. But my locks have not been great this year, so I shouldn't be surprised.
Fade Isaiah. That was almost a little bit of a bad beat because Clemson ended up going for 2, but they didn't get it. Otherwise,
I
we
know.
could have had the cover.
I know if they would have got that for 2, I would have been so hyped because there'd been 8 there, but it happens.
Sometimes how it goes. Next, Baylor Bears beat the Cyclones. This was an 11 a.m. game from Ames, 31-24, although it was 31-17, still pretty late in the fourth quarter. That Baylor Bears defense is stout. They held the Cyclone rushing attack to just 66 yards. I'm really liking Baylor a lot now, especially after that bounce back against BYU. And they really should have had that game too. They had a couple field goal opportunities to win it. But Baylor's looking good.
Yeah, I'm shocked that Iowa State was still favored. I should have made that my lock because Baylor not being favored was insane. They just looked way better than Iowa State.
Weren't you saying the whole time we were watching that game, Brad, like this should have been my lock?
I should have bet on it.
Baylor looks so good. And now I'm really high on getting Dave Aranda to Nebraska.
Yes, sir.
I want Dave Aranda bad now because he's got a defensive mind, and it's just their defense looks so good. And
I thought it was
PJ
loser.
Fleck, but he looks nice.
Okay.
I thought it was loser of that game gets to coach Nebraska. So we should get Matt Campbell, right?
No. Trev is breaking open the checkbook.
I don't know how I feel about another Iowa State guy coming over here.
Hey, Headley, didn't you
That's
want him
basketball.
at first?
That's basketball.
Dude, the mayor. They called him the mayor when he came into town.
You just want
Almost
PJ
talked about
Fleck. You just want that
I want PJ
bald
Fleck. I
headed.
really do want PJ Fleck.
Yeah, you're on the PJ
Well-dressed
Fleck.
coach.
That I just don't know if that's even going to be possible.
I think PJ Fleck is going to win the Big Ten championship. With the
We
way
were
his team's
talking about
playing
this
right
on
now.
we were talking about this on Saturday that coaches really don't stay in conference if they move teams. That's pretty rare, and for especially PJ Fleck to go to Nebraska, no way.
Yeah, I don't see that happening personally.
Bald.
But yeah, but I do. Well, Dave Aranda is bald as well, so I do really like Dave Aranda, and he is now my definitive first choice. And I think we can get him from Baylor. Aranda's a smart guy, and I think he kind of realizes that Baylor doesn't really know what their future holds in terms of like the conference they're in, the Big 12, and Nebraska's in a really good position right now. So I don't know. I think we can get him.
I think it makes the most sense for Nebraska right now, just based off of the personnel they brought in this last offseason with Mickey Joseph and Bill Bush. He worked with them both, coached them both at LSU. So I think this is something that Trev's been kind of planning in the background for a while now if it didn't work out with Ross.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Devin, because I like Bill Bush. I really like Mickey Joseph. Those guys have relationships with Aranda, so I think they could stay on staff with him. So I think it works out really good. And obviously Aranda's a defensive-minded guy too, which I really want to see some good defense here again.
I think
That's something that's been lacking. We need.
I think the worst part about the Nebraska job is one, it's very enticing for coaches. We have a lot of money. We have a great fan base, and we're getting this new facility in next year, 2 years?
Next summer it should be done.
Next summer. So that's like all perfect for these good coaches, but also like the last 3 coaches we've canned and they haven't recovered. Bo Pelini went to Youngstown and then went to LSU, and he did nothing there. And then Mike Riley, obviously, I mean, he fell off the face of the earth. He started coaching XFL, and then
I think Bo led Youngstown to a championship. They didn't win, but I think he led them to the championship game in like his first or second year.
I'm sure he was a good coach there, but also like it's Nebraska. Like you're probably getting paid more.
Right.
Youngstown.
No, and I completely agree. I think a lot that has a lot to do with while our fan base is great, it's unrealistic. They're very unrealistic in how they want the program to turn around in 3 to 4 years. Yes, we should see some signs, but we're not going to be back to contending for national championships in 3 or 4 years. I think it's going to be something that needs to be built up.
Yeah. So like these coaches that are like succeeding right now might not want to take that chance because they could possibly mess up their career, but who knows?
Hey guys, there's gonna be plenty of time to talk about the guy we tricked to coming to coach to our school. Let's talk about a real football program. Why don't we?
And who's
Kansas
that?
University.
Oh my god.
Let's get into it, Headley. I know you're going to want to talk about this one a lot. Kansas beats Duke 35-27. They're 4-0 for the first time since 2007, and they're playing really good football. They got a number 7 scoring offense in the country right now. Quarterback Jalen Daniels is balling out. He had a 98.3 QBR against Duke, nearly perfect.
I am very high on Kansas. They look very good compared to a lot of teams, even in their conference. They definitely would kill Nebraska. They know how to tackle, and they have an offense that can score. So they got 2 things going for them that we don't. I don't know. I'm excited to see this coming week for them against Iowa State. I think it's gonna be a really good game.
Yeah, I'm going to hold off of buying into them just yet until they play a conference opponent that's going to really test them. I think this weekend's going to show us a lot if Kansas is the real deal or not, and I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, that's exactly
Kansas
what I was
has
thinking,
played some
Devin.
decent schools, though. They have played some decent schools this year. Played West Virginia. They played Duke this year. It was unbeaten when they came into that game. I don't remember the other game.
They beat Houston.
Houston, another tough one.
I'm not taking away the credit from 4-0. They played great so far. I just think once you get into conference play, there's a little bit more on the line. Teams are going to get a little bit more chippy. We'll just have to see if they can hold it together.
Hey, I agree with you though. I'm not buying it either because they can get their hype. They can enjoy that hype. But why? Right when people start thinking that they're a real football school, they're going to prove it to everyone that they're Kansas. This is going to end poorly for them.
He just kept saying the whole time at Phoenix, this is going to end poorly for Kansas. Just wait. You'll see.
Sell out your stadium and embarrass yourself in front of the stadium like we Nebraska fans do. Okay.
They just beat 2009 all over again, and they'll start sucking again the next year.
I think Kansas is, I don't know. I'm starting to buy in a little bit. They have a really legitimate offense. They can score a lot of points against anyone. So, and they've played a good schedule too. I mean, Houston, West Virginia, and Duke, those are all big games, you know? So
if Jalen Daniels is not on Kansas, he's on, any other team, he's a front runner for the Heisman.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And if Kansas has this same, if any other team in the country has the same like record and resume that Kansas has right now, they're probably ranked.
Yeah. When Greg gets in here later, he's going to be talking a lot about Jalen Daniels. He seems to be worshiping him these days. So.
Well, he is reviving the Kansas football program to a degree. Him and Lance Leipold together. So that's another Nebraska coaching candidate, by the way, who I would not be too disappointed in if he decided to come to Lincoln.
What's his hair look like?
Lance Leipold is bald.
Oh. So all our candidates are bald right now.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien's
besides
bald.
Matt Campbell.
I'm out on them. Let's get Pat Fitzgerald. He's actually got here.
Yeah, well, thinning.
Urban won't
Not
be
bald
bald.
though.
Guarantee you that.
Well, Urban's not coming to Nebraska, so
I'm not gonna count that off just yet.
all right.
I
Well,
think
the
that-
rumors are
Are
flying
there
with
any
that one.
coaches that
I think
have
that's out.
long, luscious locks? Is that exist?
Mike Gundy's got a little bit of a mullet going on. You're a big
Mike
Gundy
Gundy's
guy.
awesome.
Yeah, there you go. Who else? I don't even know.
I don't think many coaches have long hair because they get too much stress.
Kyle Whittingham at Utah had some flow for a while. Dana Holgerson, Houston, but that's really bad hair, but it's kind of long. Anyway, moving on from the coach's hair discussion. Next we got Tennessee and Florida. We were watching this game. It had the power of the iPad going for a little while, which is always pretty fun. 38-33, Vols end up winning it. Right now, guys, Tennessee has the #1 total offense in the country. They're playing some good ball in Tennessee, top 10 in the country, and they looked good against Florida again.
their quarterback is the front runner for the Heisman. I'm pretty sure right now.
Up
I
there.
kind of got a bad beat. Florida made that a little too close, and I lost a bet. But also that Florida 2-point conversion. I don't know if you guys remember that. About 4 minutes left in the game. I rewatched the highlights of that game. It made no sense to go for 2 there. Do you guys remember that?
Was that when they
I don't
scored to
remember
make it
what the play
38,
was.
33?
No. This was to score, and they were down 11, and they elected to go for 2 to try to get back within 9 instead of kicking the field goal to go within 10. Strange coaching decision there.
That's odd.
I thought it was to get back.
We
to
didn't
8.
think about it at the time because it almost got us to that perfect zone where me and Connor's bets were both hitting at the same time. We're 10.5 and 11.5.
Oh yeah, because it was at 11.
That is weird. That is weird. Strange coaching decision there.
Yeah, I look back at it today. Very strange.
I'm sure they're talking about that a lot in Gainesville, Florida right now about what the hell that was.
Well,
But
that needs to be investigated.
yeah, it's neglect right there. Next, we can move on. Notre Dame beats North Carolina. I don't have much to say about this one, but North Carolina has one of the worst defenses in the country. Notre Dame wins 45-32. Anyone have anything on this one? No. Good for Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, I was happy to see Notre Dame get something under their belt to hopefully gather some momentum.
Yeah. UNC does have the 126th ranked defense in the country, so not looking too good, but they have a very good offense, very imbalanced team. Next, Oregon beats Washington State 44-41. This was an entertaining game. Another interesting one for your bets, Headley.
Sorry, which one is that?
Oregon beats or Wazoo. Did I say something else? Sorry.
Yeah, that one I had a really good
This one was
beat that got followed by a bad beat.
Yeah.
This one sucked for me and Headley both.
I mean, it was an awesome game though. I think Oregon scored like 22 points in the fourth, or I don't know what it is. I don't know.
They were down
stats. I make
big.
them up.
Once again, the power.
But
of
yeah,
the iPad
they
on
did
that.
come back at the end of the game.
That was the
And it
iPad
was
game
awesome.
after Tennessee, Florida. So next, how about the Aggies getting the win over Arkansas? This one really surprised me. I was kind of big on Arkansas coming into this game. They obviously miss a game-winning field goal to win the game that goes off of the top of the upright, bounce straight up in the air. I have never seen that before. But the Aggies get a big win here after some disappointing performances to start the season.
I was really sad to see my pigs lose here. To be
Your
honest.
pigs?
Yeah, my
Pigs,
pigs.
man.
Pigs, man.
Big fan here.
Are you a
Pigs.
Pig fan or a
We need your
Louisville
picks.
fan? Make up your mind.
You can be both.
And a Husker
Dude, you-
fan?
Dude,
You
you
should
can
ideally
be,
be one.
you can be fan of team. Okay, ideally we're going Nebraska, but
Hey,
I like the
update
pigs
us.
this
What?
year.
How did Louisville do this week? Prove to everyone how much of a fan you are. How did they do?
No,
Oh,
you
he's
can't look at
Googling.
he's looking at
Without
it.
looking it
No,
up.
no.
They won.
Isaiah,
I actually
who'd
did.
they even?
actually
Isaiah,
did
who'd they
play.
play? Who'd they play?
USF. They won 31
No,
to 10.
is that a UCF?
No, they won more than that. They won
They
like
did
40
not win
something.
31.
USF.
It was like
Oh,
41 to
That's not
3.
Okay, they won. They played USF. All that matters.
Oh, dude, he's gonna edit this part out.
No, I'm not. I can't.
Oh no.
I will agree, Max, that was a first for me to see the upright bounce off, see the ball bounce off the top of the upright. But turns out it actually happened 2 weeks ago in the Wyoming-Illinois game, 3 weeks ago. It happened in that game too. So pretty crazy stuff. I want to say that's almost like 1 in a million chances. And then for it to not go in.
I know. If it almost
pretty
just would have
nuts.
went right above
Over
it, they
it.
might have.
Yeah,
counted
it just
they
had
might
to
have counted it
had
good.
to keep going. It would have
Yeah.
counted if it would have kept going.
It's like
Yeah, that's
right.
colleges need longer field goals like the NFL.
Yeah, they do.
Mhm.
Next, Connor, let's get into a little
I want to
Iowa.
talk about A&M a little bit longer.
Oh, okay,
A&M,
go ahead, Liam. I'm
They've
sorry.
got to be the most fraudulent team in the country right now. They're 3-1, could very easily, like, 2 plays away from being 1-3.
Yes.
2 lucky plays away from being 1-3.
I think the
And-
quarterback changes make them the real.
The real deal. I don't know if they're the real deal. They lost to Tulane.
And you
And
look
then
at it now.
Squeaked past Miami. That Miami just got beat by Middle Tennessee. This is a fraud team.
I was just
Well-
going to make that point, Headley, that they do kind of squeak past Miami. Now, Miami's very fraudulent. I was never too high on Miami anyway. I don't know why they were ranked so high, but yeah, A&M, I don't know. They're a big mystery right now.
Wait, so A&M lost to Tulane?
No.
I thought that's what Headley just said.
Yeah, he did
They-
say that, but that was wrong.
Kansas State. Yeah, that was Kansas.
A&M lost
Okay.
to App State.
Okay. Sorry.
App State. That's right.
Either way.
Still a fraud team.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
this cool thing about this matchup is next week Arkansas plays Alabama, and the week after that Texas A&M plays Alabama.
Mhm.
So I think Alabama's really also Texas A&M beat Alabama last year.
Yep.
They're gonna get exposed, man. But that's a while away.
And remember in the offseason too, Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban were going at it.
Yep. They were kind of beefing a little bit.
Yeah, they were. So that's going to be a fun one. But first, Alabama does have a pretty tough test against Arkansas this week. So we'll talk about that one a little bit as well. Next, Connor, let's get into your Iowa Hawkeyes here. Night game in New Jersey. They beat Rutgers 27-10, 14 points from the defense. And that was really the difference.
Yeah, it was a solid dub. They 14 points, like you said. They won pretty comfortably, even though they only scored 13 with their offense. So yeah, their defense just continues to play good, and it's kind of carrying them really hard right now. But Petrus did play a lot better this week. That was one solid thing that happened for Iowa's offense. No offensive line play still, though.
That game was fun to watch, but for the over/under, Brad's mom, I'm using my pass. That was bullshit, man. 14 points on the defense? That's
Yeah, it
ridiculous.
sucks.
Yeah, and then they doinked the field goal in at the end off the upright.
Gosh.
Oh, yeah.
To
Off
cover
the
the spread.
upright and in.
It was real. I got it at 35 too. I don't know how that doesn't hit. Oh yeah, because of 14 defensive points, a scoop and score, a pick six. Ridiculous.
Iowa literally needs to score with their defense to win games. So
We will do a preview, a look into that Michigan-Iowa game later, so we can talk more about the Hawkeyes then. The Petrus QBR meter this week, 58.3.
Through the roof.
he's
Shocking.
just going up every
Yeah, he
game.
is. Nearly doubled from last week.
He's back.
Yes, sir. Next, Kansas State Wildcats. And again, Connor, we'll get more into the Iowa Hawkeyes for that Michigan game. Excited to talk about that one. But the Kansas State Wildcats this week beat the Oklahoma Sooners in Norman 41-34. A lot of offense in this game. Good for Adrian Martinez. He had 234 passing, 148 on the ground, no turnovers, and just shy of a 90 QBR. What a performance. He was the, I forget what the award's called, Davey O'Brien or something, National Quarterback of the Week. That's pretty cool.
Good for Adrian, man. I'm happy for him. But I swear if he was playing in red and Lincoln, he would fumble that ball every time. But I'm happy for him. I've always been an Adrian guy.
I have not been an
Thank-
Adrian guy, but I am happy to see him play well. It's shocking to me that, we play Oklahoma and get the shit kicked out of us. And then they go play K-State with Adrian Martinez and he wins the game. I don't know. There's something going on there. It shows a lot for how bad our program is. The team was led by Adrian last year. Granted, we barely lost last year, and then Adrian to go beat them this year. I don't know. It shows a lot for what our program's got going for us right now.
I think we made Oklahoma look a lot better than they actually are. I mean, we did fire our head coach like that week and just expect Mickey Joseph to come in and play against the number 6th ranked team in the country. So I also think that Oklahoma beating the shit out of Nebraska gave Adrian a little bit more motivation to kind of go out there and win that football game. And he played phenomenal, absolutely lights out. He deserves this. Kansas State deserves this. And I'm happy to see a lot of the Husker fan base kind of back him as well and support him. So hope he keeps on rolling.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff there. I think it helps to have a good offensive line and a good running back behind you to have a good performance. But that was awesome to see Adrian. I liked his little bow celebration as well. Very deserved. Very deserved. Next, USC beats Oregon State. Not much to say about this one either. I think this will be quick, but Oregon State, I think, is a really good football team. They're now 3-1 on the year, and their head coach, Jonathan Smith, maybe starting to creep into the sneaky, dark horse Nebraska candidate.
Please.
Oh, no, we've already had one Oregon State head
Not
coach.
another
I don't want another
no,
one.
I know. I hear you. But that was a close game, which was fun to see. I think the Beavers, they got a good football team now, so good for the Pac-12. Even though Oregon State's probably going to be in the Mountain West in a few years, but whatever. Next, we're going to get into a discussion here about 4 games that were interesting this year. A lot of cause for discussion. Ohio State destroys Wisconsin 52-51. Not super surprising. Texas
What did you
Tech
say the score was?
or
Did you say
52-21. Sorry, I said 52.
I was going to say 52-51. I'm like,
50, yeah, 52-21. No, Wisconsin, Graham Mertz could never score that many points. Next, Texas Tech beats Texas 37-34 in overtime. Middle Tennessee State beats Miami 45-31 in overtime. And Minnesota beats Michigan State 34-7. A lot of surprising results there. Have anyone to say on those games individually before we get into some topics of discussion about those?
Minnesota's
I think-
for real.
Yeah.
Minnesota looks good. I'm excited to see how the rest of their schedule plays out. I think Texas is really missing Quinn Ewers right now. Hudson Card just couldn't get it done despite how well he played, and Texas Tech just kind of got the last laugh at the end of that rivalry. So hoping Quinn can come back and make it in time for the Red River rivalry in a couple weeks. Otherwise, I might be eating a bunch of shit here as far as Texas making a run here for the playoffs.
I wanted to give a shout out to Nate Weibel and his Middle Tennessee State University destroying. I would say they destroyed the Hurricanes.
Yep. Interesting enough about that, Middle Tennessee State now moves to 3-0 all time versus the Miami Hurricanes. And they also collected a $1.5 million check from Miami to go in there and win that game. So to destroy Miami. So
What's their mascot?
Middle Tennessee State, they're like the Blue Raiders.
Yeah, good for the Blue Raiders.
Yeah. Kind of a long name. Middle Tennessee State University Blue Raiders. Yeah. Too long. I no longer like them. Minnesota was very impressive against Michigan State. Tanner Morgan was 23 of 26, 3 touchdowns, 97.2 QBR. That Golden Gopher defense held Michigan State to 38 rush yards. Man, Mel Tucker, what happens when you don't have Kenneth Walker? That apparently. Minnesota had almost 43 minutes of time of possession versus the Spartans 17. This was a total beatdown. God, Michigan State's in trouble.
It wasn't even close.
No.
Like it's probably a little bit of a combination of Minnesota is really good and Michigan State is probably really bad.
Yeah.
And I think Mel Tucker, I don't want to say he's a one-hit wonder quite yet, but I'll give him another year. But it's not looking very good for him whatsoever.
I kind of disagree with you, Brad. I think he is a one-hit wonder. You start 2-0 and then you lose the next 3 straight. Like, Minnesota's good. I will give him that. But to lose to them 34-7 has got to be completely embarrassing for him. You should be able to score, keep it decently close. Maybe you lose by 2 touchdowns, but 34-7 in conference play is not acceptable. Or if I was the Michigan State Boosters, I'd be really upset about this game.
Isn't this Mel Tucker's second year?
This is Mel Tucker's third year.
Third
Yeah.
year.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
I thought it was his 3rd year.
Yeah, so Mel Tucker, outside of last year now, he's 4-7, if you take away last year. And after last year, when they went 11-2, Michigan State signed him to a 10-year, $95 million extension. They kind of thought they caught lightning in a bottle and thought, they had to sign him to a big deal so that he wouldn't leave. That's kind of the landscape of college football right now, but the Spartans can be in trouble with that one. That is just an enormous buyout if it starts to continue to go downhill.
Doesn't he have $70 million guaranteed? I heard something about that.
Something like that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
10 years, 95 mil.
That's crazy though. Like if
Insane.
say he goes 2-10 this year, like what are they gonna do?
Well, they're not going to go 2-10. They're
Well,
2-2 right now.
They still
Yeah, they're gonna roll with it. I mean, I don't think money is an issue to any Big Ten school right now. So if a couple years later he's still not performing very well, I don't think they'll have a problem buying him out.
Yeah, I see your point, Devin, but I mean, let's say he goes like, I don't know, 5-7 this year and then goes like 4-8. And I mean, I don't think they'd want to keep that guy. And then they still have $70 million. I mean, there's never been a buyout near that big.
No, and you're absolutely right. What I'm saying though is unless you're Nick Saban or maybe Dabo Sweeney, you don't hire a coach without the thought in the back of your head, like, okay, what if this doesn't work out? Especially when you're signing them to that big of an extension. I think the university knows what they're going to have to spend if it doesn't work.
Yeah. Potentially.
I think the boosters know how much they'll have to spend if it doesn't work.
Boosters, Big Ten money, all that. Yeah. No, I know. I hear you there, but still, I mean, that's not a good look if that doesn't work out.
I think he's definitely going to be there for nearly the entire term of his contract. I don't think they're going to fire him. I think they've just had a rough couple weeks. I think they're going to be fine. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah.
I want to make a comment on how much Mel Tucker was sweating during that game. It looks like he got like a Gatorade bath. Like
The dude was soaking wet.
If
He
you
was
wiped a
soaking
towel
wet.
on him, you could wring it out. Swear to God.
Oh, it was
he
so
was
bad.
so sweaty.
It was so funny.
It's not like it could be that hot in East Lansing, Michigan either. I don't know. Sun wasn't even
No.
out.
No,
People were wearing like stocking caps.
Yeah.
Like it really wasn't that hot.
No, dude. It's insane. Yeah. Next thing I want to talk about real quick too. So which of these 4 teams, and I had this listed, Wisconsin, Texas, Miami, Michigan State. These were all teams with a lot of hype coming into the season. 3 of those, Wisconsin, Miami, Michigan State, top 15 at one point in the season. Texas was a 21 ranked team after the game against Texas. Which one of those teams do you think is in the most trouble now? A lot of preseason hype.
I have to go with Michigan State.
Yeah.
I mean, they still got to play Michigan and Ohio State. So I don't know. They could absolutely get blown out by those 2 teams.
I agree with Connor. I think Michigan State as a team is probably in more trouble, but I think head coach wise, Paul Chryst with Wisconsin is in the most trouble to keep his job. I know the boosters are very unhappy with him right now, just how they started the season. And with Graham Mertz as your quarterback, I would be concerned too for my job.
Yeah, I actually really like that take, Isaiah. I agree with that. Michigan State's in the most trouble. They still have to go through the gauntlet that is the Big Ten East. And they're not looking good at all right now. They're going to face some good teams. But I agree with the Paul Chryst analysis there. I think he's kind of getting on the hot seat at Wisconsin. The standard has risen there over the past decade plus. So I think he's in a little bit of trouble. I think Texas and Steve Sarkisian, they're surprising, man. Sarkisian's now 7-9 overall at Texas. 5 of those 9 losses coming when Texas was leading at halftime. In this game, they were leading 31-17 in the fourth quarter. Little concerning there for Steve Sarkisian. It's still only his second year, but got to wonder about that.
Yeah, because they play West Virginia this week, I believe. Yep. And so, I think his job security is in question too if they lose that game, because West Virginia has not looked very good this year.
Potentially,
I don't think his job is in any type of issue with it only being year 2. I think they just need to. It's Quinn Ewers' first year at the university. They have Archie Manning coming in next year. I think he just needs to get a few more guys going, and they'll be fine. As far as Paul Chryst goes, it's kind of similar to Nebraska's situation with Adrian. Is that a lot of people were saying, bench Adrian, he's not playing well, put somebody else in. But he was our best option. Otherwise, they would have put somebody else in. And I think Graham Mertz is Wisconsin's best option. Otherwise, they would be playing somebody else. And unfortunately, he's just not very good. So I think, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Graham Mertz is a junior. He may be a senior this year. So I think they at least let Paul Chryst get another quarterback into the system, let him recruit and see what he can do. And then if it doesn't work out, then next year, I think he's gone.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. They've always had a pretty strong rushing attack and defense at Wisconsin. So we'll see if those things can kind of keep up with themselves. But if that's all for our week 4 reaction, we can get into our tank of the week this week. I guess I can start real quick. I have 2. I'll go real quick with them because I could not decide. Mizzou losing to Auburn. Okay, it was 14-14, and Missouri drives down the field, and they have a 28-yard field goal to win the game as time expires. Shank, miss. And then in overtime, they're running in for the touchdown. The running back doesn't need to reach the ball out really, but he does. Fumbles into the end zone. They lose the game. So 2 just absolutely brutal plays.
Sad.
Yeah,
That was sad.
it was a brutal way to lose a game. My next one real quick, Colorado State hosted FCS Sacramento State this weekend, and they lost 41-10.
Wow.
Hell,
That's crazy. So I have as my take of the week, Oklahoma losing to Kansas State. I believe Oklahoma was 13-point favorite in this game. And I also noted that they lost to the ex-Nebraska quarterback, Adrian Martinez, because I was never really high on Martinez, but he does look very good at Kansas State. I will say that. But I still think that's take of the week. You know, you're number 6 in the country and you lose. It's just not looking good.
Yep. My tank of the week, I got a lot of thunder stolen off this one because of the Michigan State talk we just had, but mine is Michigan State. You know, you just signed your coach to this huge deal, and he comes out and plays Minnesota, and they really just got beat down. I mean, we've talked about it enough, but look at Minnesota or Michigan State's schedule for the rest of the year. They drew from the West. They have to play Minnesota and Wisconsin. Wisconsin's always a tough team to play, and then they have to go back to the East and play the East. You still have Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State on the schedule. It just does not look bright for Michigan State right now, and that loss is tough to bring into next week.
all right, my tank of the week is Miami losing to Middle Tennessee State University Blue Raiders. Fraudulent team Miami is. They suck. Tank of the week. Also, another tank of the week, Headley's bets. Bad week for the man.
Dude.
Oh, that's rough.
Beats.
That's rough.
Dude, the bookie didn't text me today, so I didn't pay him, but I do owe him some money.
Nice.
I was going to
Also,
go with
Miami, with
Legal
that Miami
activities.
Hurricane thing, really quick. I don't know if you guys are on Reddit, but they changed their Miami Hurricane subreddit to information about actual hurricanes. Like, it is no longer a football subreddit. They completely changed it. It's a informational subreddit about hurricanes that are going to hit Miami.
That's classic.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so my take of the week, no disrespect to the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee and Nate Weibel, but yeah, Middle Tennessee beating the crap out of Miami this week is my tank of the week. They were up by 21 with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Like, Miami was not even close.
Wow.
It was a bad game. Like, they got beat down. So shout out Blue Raiders for beating Miami, because like everybody said, they are fraudulent.
All right. My tank of the week is going to be the Appalachian State Mountaineers losing to James Madison, the Dukes. They were up 28-10 at half, and they ended up losing 32-28. To be up by such a large margin and only score in the second quarter, not get any points in the second half at all, just kind of speaks volumes, especially when they went out and beat A&M. They won on a Hail Mary to Troy. They just kind of looked electric so far this year. Was kind of thinking they were going to have the Cinderella story that Kansas is having and be really good. And, Dion and James Madison, they got it done.
I'm going to have to take my take back earlier in the season. Appalachian State, not for the Natty.
Did you say
You're allowed
Dion?
to
Like,
take your take back, but
did you say Dion as in like Deion Sanders?
He's at Jackson
It's
State.
at Jackson
Oh,
State.
Jackson State. You're right. You're right.
I
Oh,
didn't even realize that.
regardless, James Madison coming back from 28-3 and beating The Appalachian
28
State
to 3 is a
Mountaineers.
cursed score
That
in
is insane.
football.
Yeah.
It is a
28 to
cursed
3.
score.
That's
It
a
is.
bad score to be up by.
It
You're
is.
done
It
for.
is the
The
worst
most dangerous
score in
lead
football.
in football, some say.
That game had to have been on an iPad somewhere. That's all I'm saying.
I was watching it. It was on. We did have to stream it.
Yeah, we'll count that.
Max, I
Great
think
takes.
you should explain the iPad thing to the listeners.
Yeah, okay. Well, real quick. So usually we have like maybe 2 or 3 TVs set up, and they're all decently big size. And then we have this little iPad that we just put on for whatever game is kind of on the back burner that we either think is like done or whatever.
No one really wants to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. But we put Florida and Tennessee on there, and then we put Washington State, Oregon, and both games turned into absolute chaos when we no longer thought they were going to be anything. So
On top of that, Texas A&M and App State when App State
Yeah.
upset them.
yeah, the week before, yeah.
Yeah, right when we
So-
turned on the
We've seen
iPad, we
upsets,
all were watching
Hail
it.
Marys, balls hitting off the tops of field goal posts on this iPad.
The iPad has some special powers. We're gonna keep that going. I'm just gonna have it like on while we go down to the Husker game this week, just on some channel, just see what happens with that. Great tank, so fellas. Headley, I really liked your point with Michigan State and the schedule they have left. They were as high as 11th in the country, and now they might not make a bowl game. So that's pretty insane and troubling for them.
Yeah.
Next, let's get into our previews for this week. Let's start it off with an 11 a.m. Fox kickoff here. Gus Johnson's going to be on the call, which we always love. Number 4, Michigan, favored by 10.5, going into Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. Michigan has not won in Kinnick Stadium since 2005, and Iowa is 5-1 in their last 6 home games versus top 5 opponents. That is extraordinary. Like, that is ridiculously impressive.
Magic.
Does Kinnick Magic still work at 11 in the morning?
It still does. I don't know. We'll have to find out.
It's those damn kids, man.
I am kind of disappointed that this game isn't a night game or at least an afternoon game, but
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Connor, are you going to this game?
No.
Oh, I'd say that'd be cool if you went and they beat Michigan. That the field rush would be crazy.
Back-to-back years.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
I am staying as far away as possible from this game as far as bet wise, based off of the stats that Max just kind of relayed to us. You know, Michigan right now is an 11-point favorite on Barstool. I think this is going to be one of those trap games. Iowa's defense is the real deal. Michigan's rushing offense is the real deal. It's just going to come down to which one shows up on Saturday at 11, and it could honestly go either way. So I'm not really sure who I think is going to win. I can't confidently say.
Yeah, this is a tough one to gauge for sure. That 10.5 points. Yeah, I agree, Devin. I'd stay far away from that. Iowa has been really good in these big games at home as of late. So yeah, another thing, Connor, I know you sent this to us the other day that and we both looked at it, but Iowa has the number 1 offense and last defense, or number 1 defense and last offense in the country. So
They actually moved up to 130th out of 131.
wow,
So they're making progress.
moves. Yeah, Iowa has
Yeah.
30 points on offense this season. They have 38 points from special teams and defense this season. So
That's funny. Yeah, I'm very worried for the offense this week. They might not score. I'm kind of worried that it's going to be like the Big Ten championship all over again.
yeah, rematch
We'll
of that game
see.
from last year.
I don't think it will, Connor. I honestly think that the offense has gotten better. I know Michigan is a very good team this year, but I don't think it'll be a blowout like it was in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, I don't know if Iowa's offense is that much better, but their defense is definitely a lot better than last year. Not a lot better, but has improved.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that one plays out. I'm really excited to watch that Iowa defense against that Michigan defense or Michigan offense. That's going to be a really fun one. But if no one has anything more on that, we can move to a top 15 matchup here. Kentucky at Ole Miss SEC here. Ole Miss favored by 6.5 This is the first time both teams are playing ranked since 1958. So pretty crazy there. Ole Miss has the number 4 rushing attack in the country at 280 rush yards per game. I think Lane Kiffin has some things rolling at Ole Miss there. It is kind of crazy to see a team ranked 14 versus 7, but they're favored by almost a touchdown. Intriguing matchup.
I'm
Didn't Ole Miss
surprised.
land that transfer from TCU? I think that's where he ended up going. That running back.
Sounds right. I can't say for sure though.
I'm blanking on his name, but he was the number 1 running back out of the recruiting class with like Bijan Robinson and everything. I'm pretty sure he transferred to Ole Miss. So if he gets hot and gets rolling, I think it's a long day for Kentucky.
I'm actually surprised to see what this line is. Just seeing Kentucky this year so far, they look very good.
Yeah.
They have a good wide receiver core. I know that. They can throw the ball. I haven't really looked much into their rushing offense because I haven't watched them this year. I've just seen highlights of their passing offense. But I haven't really heard much about Ole Miss. So I'm just really surprised to see that's a 6.5 point spread here.
Yeah. A couple other notes about Kentucky heading in this game too. They do get running back Chris Rodriguez back. He's been out so far this to the start of this year, but he had nearly 1,400 yards last year as Kentucky's running back. So didn't even realize that, not going to lie, but that's big for Kentucky, it seems like. Next thing too, Kentucky offensive line has apparently been really bad this year. Their O-line is 125th in the country in yards per rush blocking and 129 in sacks allowed so far this year. So they seem kind of up and down. Getting a huge running back, O-line struggles. I don't know what to make of Kentucky at this point. Because like you said, Isaiah, just watching them, eye test, they have looked good.
Yeah, just watching them, they do look really good. Stat book, it says some about a team, but if they're still able to win games at the same time, I don't know how much the stats really matter. But the fact that both these teams are ranked within the top 15 in the country, I think it will play more of a part in who wins this game.
Yeah. That's an 11 a.m. game as well. So, but the 2:30 CBS game is the second-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide at Arkansas. Arkansas's 20th. It's in Fayetteville. Alabama's favored by 17, and they are on a 14-game win streak over Arkansas. Not surprising. Nick Saban, since he got to Alabama, has not lost to the Razorbacks. This is going to be a fun game. It's going to be a fun rocking atmosphere in Fayetteville. I don't know if Arkansas has what it takes, so I'm not going to lie.
Hey, Max, do the jingle.
The CBS jingle?
Yeah.
Isaiah, you can hear it at 2:30 Central Time this Saturday if you tune into this game.
You know what? We heard it. We heard it last week, but I already forgot what it was.
It's so good. The 2:30 CBS game. Headley, this is your 2:30 CBS game this week. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I love the 2:30 CBS game. The classic nap through the first quarter, then you wake up ready to go for the rest. It's the best. Alabama, dude, they're gonna win this game by 40 points.
Am I?
Headley, how are you
That's
going
no
to take a nap?
exaggeration. Write it down. They're gonna win.
Headley, how are you going to take a nap this week? We're going to be at the tailgate at this time.
Dude, I know. I'm dreading it. I'm gonna have to set up a hammock or something.
Or nap. The Forerunner.
Taking the Forerunner?
Taking the
or
truck. I'm taking
I'm gonna
Daddy's
take the
truck this week since he's out of town.
There you go.
We're gonna have some daddy steaks.
No, just some burgers. Just some burgers.
Some burgers.
Some birds. Does anyone have anything meaningful to say about this Alabama-Arkansas game? Okay.
I'm kind
I
of
said
with
something
Headley.
meaningful, and I want you to write it
Yeah.
down. They're gonna win by 40.
I did like
I-
that, Headley. I did like that.
I think I don't know if it's going to be quite 40, but I don't think it's going to be a close one.
Yeah. Crimson Tide could roll on that one. It would be a huge upset if Arkansas pulls off that win. Next, we have a super awesome matchup here. Big 12 championship game rematch from last year, which was one of the best games of college football, of football in general, that I've seen over the last, probably my entire life. Number 9, Oklahoma State, going into Waco to take on the 16th ranked Baylor Bears. Baylor's 2.5 point favorite here. As you said, this is a champ game rematch. Headley, I know you're probably loving this matchup. Mike Gundy versus Baylor. This is a really, really intriguing matchup. I think I like this game a lot.
Yeah, this is the game of the week. Absolutely. Rematch of Big 12 championship. Oklahoma State. I mean, they're going to win the Big 12 this year. This is going to be a big game. I'm surprised that they're dogs in this.
I agree, Headley. I am also surprised that Oklahoma State is dogs in this game. I know we talked earlier about Baylor and Dave Aranda has a good defense, but I also don't think that the Baylor defense can stop the Okie State offense. They just look so good this year.
Crazy, we got 2 championship game rematches this week. I didn't even realize that till now.
That's crazy that they fall in the same week.
This is an awesome slate of games this week. Seriously, I think the best yet of the year. So
Yeah, these have definitely been the hardest for me to pick just because of the competition.
guys, I do think one of the big reasons why the Baylor Bears are favored is that the Oklahoma State defense is ranked 70th in the country right now. They lost defensive coordinator from last year, Jim Knowles, to Ohio State. They've been struggling a little bit. Could be some of the reason why. Could be some concern for the Cowboys.
That's true
Just
because
gotta
the
score
Baylor
more points. That's it.
both offenses can score. It's just it kind of depends on the backbone of the defenses. So that is kind of concern. I see why, Baylor's favored, but I still think Okie State is the more dominant team here in scoring wise.
That's fair. Super looking forward to that matchup though. That's a 2:30 kickoff game as well. So the 2:30 slate has really looked good because Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, Baylor, and then another 2:30 game that we are going to take a look at is Wake Forest, Florida State. This, and I listed this in the notes too, man. This is not. I feel like everyone's overlooking this game.
Well, this game might not get played.
Yeah, that's true because of the hurricane.
Yeah, I think they're talking about moving it up to Thursday, which I don't know how you could do that. That is extremely short notice. So I wonder what they do with that. Maybe they play it Sunday. I hope they get the game in, but
yeah,
really I wouldn't care too much.
They already moved the South Carolina game to Thursday, which was supposed to be played on Saturday. So I think they could do it. They just need to make that call soon. Otherwise, I like the Demon Deacons here. I think they looked really impressive last week against Clemson. I think they were really upset that they didn't pull away with a win there. So I think they're going to kind of roll this game.
It's a valid take, Devin. Wake Forest definitely they're looking better than I thought they would so far this year. I didn't know if last year was going to be kind of they surprise people and then drop off, but they've kept up with what they did last year, which is good to see. If they move that game to Thursday or Friday night, that would be a fun weeknight college football game, though. I will say that. Next, NC State at Clemson. Huge game. Top 10 matchup here. 10th ranked Wolfpack going to the 5th ranked Clemson Tigers. Clemson is a 7-point favorite. I know a lot of people were high on NC State coming in preseason. They've looked decent. This is the first time NC State is ranked in the top 10 since 2002. And it might just last for 1 week because they got a tough matchup.
This is a tough matchup for them, but I think it's gonna be close. I think 7 points for Clemson is honestly too much. I think the spread should be less. Clemson, they did beat Wake Forest, but they also didn't look very good. So there's a lot. Their defense gave up, they still gave up 45 points in that game. And Wake Forest was like 21 in the country at the time. NC State is 10th ranked. Their offense looks good. They have a good defense. So I think this will be a very close game. I honestly like NC State coming out on this one.
Yeah, let's see how Uigalelele or whatever how he can do against a little bit of better defense. 5 touchdowns last week. I don't know if he can do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, NC State will definitely have a better defense than Wake Forest. The Demon Deacons are all offense, that's for sure. Next, by the way, that is where game day is going to. They're going to Clemson, South Carolina for that game, and that is the night game on ABC. So that'll be a fun one to watch, that's for sure. Next, let's do a little Indiana Nebraska preview. We didn't get one of these last week, obviously with the bye week. The Huskers, the line is back down to 5.5. Opened at 2.5 or 3.5, depending on the sports book. Rose to about 6.5, now back down to 5.5. It's been moving all over the place because I don't think people have any clue what Nebraska can do against probably the worst team in the Big Ten East.
I'm scared. This is very hard to pick. Nebraska's not looked very good. Indiana's what, 3-1, Max?
They're 3-1. They started 3-0 last week to Cincinnati.
And they don't look good. They got rolled on by Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So even though they're 3-1, I think they have a couple trash wins in there. But Nebraska also hasn't looked good. So I don't know. This game is, even with the spread going up and down like that, nobody really knows what's going to happen in this game. But I don't know. It's hard to pick. If we had to pick a winner here for me personally.
This is our last game that we're favored for the season is Indiana. I would not bet on Nebraska to cover. I would say Indiana covers for sure. I think it's going to be very close. And obviously, I hope Nebraska rolls them, but I don't think we are. And I also hope we finally get a win coming off of bye week. That's my biggest thing.
That would be nice to
That
see.
has never happened before.
That's the worst feeling ever. You get a bye week, you get extra preparation, and you still lose the game. It's almost like blue balls.
I mean, yeah, sure. Why not? I'm with Brad. I'm also staying away from this game as far as possible, just like I am with the Iowa and Michigan game. The line at 5.5, I can't confidently say Nebraska is going to cover. I would love to say that Nebraska is going to go out and they're going to be in a dogfight and they're going to come away with the win. But I can't confidently say that. And with Indiana being 3-1, what I'm hoping is that they have this kind of ego coming in, like, oh, we're playing Nebraska. This is a poverty program right now in the Big Ten. We're going to roll them. And then we kind of step on the gas and show them that, we can still play. So I'm hoping Nebraska can do it, but it's going to be a close one.
Hey, Max, you're muted.
Shoot, sorry. I was going to say, yeah, I would stay away from this one betting as well, especially for the Huskers. Nebraska is the second worst team in the country against the spread. As we know, they're 0-4 against the spread, but with an average point differential of minus 18 points against the spread. That is second worst in the country, only behind Colorado State. Really bad. But if there's nothing else to say about that one, but by the way, this is the first game that Bill Busch is going to be defensive coordinator. So that'll be exciting to see. I guess that's actually, I don't even really talk about that, but I am really interested to see Bill Busch's defense. Obviously, we've had Eric Shenandoah for the past 4 years calling plays, 4+ years calling defensive plays. So I hope we see some new schemes and kind of a new look. I think it could be really interesting.
We're going to see a very different Nebraska football team. Mickey Joseph talked a lot about slowing down the tempo of the offense to give their defense a little bit more time to rest. And I think we're really going to see that play a factor. We're not going to see a lot of hurry up and no huddle. I think it's going to be, let's just do our thing and move the balls as we can.
Well, it's going to be bad when Anthony Grant takes it to the house a couple times. It's going to make the offense go pretty quick out there.
Wouldn't that be fantastic, though?
Oh, it's going to.
I'm sure it's fine if we have a 14-point cushion.
Well, Anthony Grant is a menace no matter what team it is.
He is, but he's going to have to step it up now with A.J. Allen being out for the season. So I'm hoping that somebody either steps up or they find a way to manage his load and they don't overwork him.
Yeah, Anthony Grant is a dog. I expect him and Casey Thompson to have pretty good games against Indiana.
As the kids say these times of whatever, he is him.
Yeah. That's a thing?
I guess so.
Oh,
I saw it a lot with Adrian this week.
Well,
Our
Adrian
guest picker Greg has been saying that Jalen Daniels is him.
Oh, he's hip. He's with the kids.
Him.
He's
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's hip. He is hip and using him.
Oh man. All right. What's you guys' game of the week this week?
So I got NC State Clemson as my game of the week, which
I like
also it sucks because that's where College Game Day is going, but I still think that is probably the best game this week because it's 2 top 10 teams. And I honestly think the winner of this game is the winner of the ACC championship. I think this is the ACC championship game early in the season.
I think NC State and Clemson are in the same division.
Well, okay. So with that, then whoever wins
don't
this, it don't matter. It don't matter. This is the
It don't
best
matter.
This
We
is
don't
probably the
really care
best
about
ACC matchup.
That's
This is
true.
the
None
best
of us really
ACC
care.
matchup
We don't care
throughout
about
the
that.
season.
Yeah, we don't care about the ACC. Who cares about
We're
the
here to
ACC?
talk. We don't care if it's right or not.
Well, with that being said, like whoever wins this game, I still think is going to win the ACC championship against the other.
I do agree with
division.
that. Agreed. These are two best teams in the ACC. They've been showing us so far. My game of the week is NC State and Clemson's very close second. But I am going to go with Oklahoma State Baylor. I think this is such a phenomenal
Agreed.
matchup. Rematch of the championship
Agreed.
game. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I second that. What Max just said.
Yeah, that's also my game of the week.
Good choice.
I got 2 quick ones here, and they're kind of low-key ones. So Iowa State, Kansas. I'm very excited about this game. I want Kansas to ride the wave, and let's see if we can get them to 5-0, which would be insane to see. Would kind of hurt Matt Campbell's chances of coming to Nebraska, but it is what it is. We'll take that fall. And then Texas Tech and K-State. K-State this is their first week being ranked. Texas Tech is coming off a big overtime win against Texas. So we'll kind of see if K-State is legit and if Adrian Martinez can kind of ride the wave again, or see if Texas Tech can knock off the Wildcats
Brad,
after their only week. What?
you're such a fanboy of Adrian Martinez, dude.
I love Adrian, man. Like
Adrian's
I
a
said,
good dude. Adrian's a good dude.
he's a fantastic dude, stand-up dude. I mean, he represented Nebraska so well, but that's such a different topic for a different time.
My game of the week, it's going to be pretty similar to Brad's in that it's a more of a low key one. I'm going LSU and Auburn this week. You know, if you look back a couple of years ago, just kind of the atmosphere that game brought around the world, just with everybody watching, it was always a dogfight, always a close game. I think we're going to be in for a treat this weekend with that one.
What time is that game being played?
I think that's a night game.
That one's 6 o'clock on ESPN.
If we have a new segment or new category, I would put that game into like my graveyard game of the week, because those two programs are just not what they were like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
No, but exactly why you can't write them off is because they're still kind of relevant. We still talk about Nebraska winning a championship 20 years ago. I mean,
I guess
LSU
let's put
just
it this
won
way. Let's put it this way, Devin. That game is huge for the two head coaches. If Brian Kelly loses this game, bad start in LSU, they are on him. If Brian Harsin loses this game, he's going to be fired any second now.
He's going to get the Scott Frost treatment.
Yeah. By the way, there has been a head coach fired, and one head coach in each of the last 3 weeks. We had Frost, Herm Edwards. This last week, Jeff Collins was fired at Georgia Tech. So
we're not the only ones.
Yeah, exactly. You know what another kind of weird stat was? I'll say this real quick, but every FBS team, or I guess every team that has beaten Nebraska so far this year has gone on to lose their next game. Yeah.
People need to just lay down to us so they can keep winning. Like, just give up a game against us, you know.
Yeah, if you want to have a bright future, lose to Nebraska.
Exactly. I did see that as well, Max.
Good thing that Iowa's last game of the year is Nebraska.
Yeah, and
you're right, because they can only have like 3 wins.
Yeah, I guess it won't be, because they'll be going to the Big Ten championship after that.
Oh, jeez. All right. Good stuff there, boys. Good game of the weeks. Now we can get into our predictions. We got our locks. We got our underdogs. We got our predictions. And we have, with all of that, our special guest for this week. Isaiah, go ahead.
All right, guys. Yeah, Headley, you go ahead. You can introduce Greg.
We've got Kansas University alumni Greg Kipp joining for our guest picker this week. Greg, what do you think about Kansas? Tell us what's going on there. What's happening in Lawrence? What's the vibe?
I honestly think they just look like a good football team right now. Honestly, offense is firing on all cylinders. Defense is a little shaky, but they can get it done. Ran in a few close games against good opponents, and at the end of the day, we came out with a W. So I think they look really good, and I think there's very little reasons to doubt them as of right now.
I think there's a lot of reasons to doubt them.
Greg, do you have a record prediction for Kansas now that they're 3-0?
I don't want to get 4-0.
4-0.
4-0. Sorry.
I don't want to get ahead of myself. I honestly have no idea. I've watched every single Kansas game for the last 4 years. Watch them lose a bunch of them. Watch them stay into a bunch of games. I mean, this team looks way better than all those teams, but I think that this team has a similar vibe to like that 2019 Kansas City Chiefs team that a lot of you guys are familiar with, where they just put up a bunch of points. Defense a little shaky, but as long as you can score, you're in every single game. So I think they could go a 10-win team. Honestly, it looks like right now, but I mean, they could also like end up like the 2009 team, 5-7. Really, it's just a coin flip at the end of the day. I think they're going to stay in every game, and if good coaching prevails, they'll win a bunch of them, and if they get out coached, they won't.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Headley here. I can't fully buy into the whole Kansas scheme just yet, but I'm honestly really excited for them to play Iowa State this weekend. I think if they pull away with the win there, they might have to start being talked about as one, being ranked for sure, and two, being the real deal. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I do got a question. Why can't you buy into the Kansas team? Is it the history, or is it?
For me, it's the history.
I agree. For me, it's the history as well. I do think they've looked really good, but I think conference play is a completely different animal as far as how teams play each other. I think it gets a lot chippier. I think there's a lot more at stake. So I didn't want to buy in until I saw them play against a Big 12 opponent.
We beat West Virginia and scored 55 points, and we beat Houston, who will be in the Big 12 in 2 years.
That is very true. In terms of talking about teams that are going to different conferences, Oklahoma and Texas have looked like absolute ass compared to going into the SEC. So I have high hopes for them, but I'm not confident yet. I want to see them play Iowa State, and then we can talk about it next week.
Yeah, I do think that they're not going to be able to keep up this 47 points per game shtick. I think that might go down. And I think their third down efficiency is probably the only other place where you're looking. They're currently sitting at 66.67 third down efficiency. So I think their offense will slow down a little bit, but I really do think they'll keep them in games, and I'm excited to watch for the rest of the season. And I'm excited. I'll be at the game on Saturday, so I know the booth will be rocking. I do think it's criminal their odds right now. I think being underdogs at home after winning 4 games in a row is a little strange.
Yeah, I agree, Gay. I think it's crazy that Kansas isn't ranked right now, too. I think if there's any other name or logo with that record, I think they're probably a ranked team. So
I think they have a better resume than a lot of the top 25s.
I completely agree.
Daniels has a 97 QBR right now.
Yeah.
We touched on that earlier. Like, if you're a different team, different logo, different everything, you're a ranked team right now, and you're probably in the top 15. But since it's Kansas and just their resume behind them, they're just not going to be ranked where they should be, honestly.
What screwed Kansas too was K-State beating Oklahoma. I think if K-State didn't beat Oklahoma, they might be in that 25 spot.
Absolutely.
You got to give the 25 spot to Kansas State after that.
You have to. You have to.
I'm honestly surprised Kansas State didn't get ranked a little bit higher than that.
That loss to Tulane is bad.
That's true. But still, I think 25 is a little low for them. Still in the 20s, but 25, I think, is kind of.
We'll see. They have a lot to prove, and they if they have a good performance against Texas Tech, they'll only move up quite a bit as well.
How far
but
back,
with that,
how far back did Oklahoma drop there?
Oklahoma dropped to what, 20?
18, I think.
Yeah, 18. Yeah, so they lost 12 spots. Deservedly so, though. That was not a good performance, especially defensive wise. They gave up a lot of yards.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into our locks this week, though. We'll move on. Great, you got a lock, right?
Hawks money line.
Okay, all right. My lock for this week is the Georgia spread over Mizzou. I'm going another Georgia pick here. The Bulldogs are favored by 28 points, but I think this is going to be a blowout, similar to like how they beat South Carolina 49-7. Last week, I know it was a little close with Kent State. They won by 17. But they had double the amount of first downs. They had double the amount of total yards. They had nearly double the amount of time of possession. The big thing was Georgia had 3 turnovers that made it short field for Kent State, and Kent State took advantage with some field goals and some quick scores. I think Georgia isn't going to have those mistakes, and I think they're going to destroy Missouri. Missouri doesn't look like a good team.
I like that, Max. Georgia's, they had a bad week against Kent State, and you can't be perfect every week, so that's a good pick. But I have 2 locks this week. My first one is Okie State money line. They're 2.5-point dogs to Baylor, and I think Oklahoma State is just a better team in this matchup. And then my next one is Maryland versus Michigan State spread. Maryland is 7-point favorites in this game. I think Michigan State, as I said earlier in the year, is a fraud team. They're not legit. And I think Maryland, after coming, they got what do you guys call it? Trash touchdown in the end against Michigan. Garbage time touchdown against Michigan. I think Maryland still is a legitimate team, and they will just roll Michigan State and cover that 7 points. So those are my 2 locks for this week.
Fade Isaiah, record shows.
That's definitely a
That's true.
fade right there.
Yeah.
My lock of the week is similar to Isaiah's, Oklahoma State money line. I mean, they're going to win the Big 12 championship. This is just another team in their way. Baylor was a dog last week to Iowa State. Or no, sorry, they were a favorite to Iowa State. I don't remember. Who cares? Oklahoma State.
They were dogs.
All
I
right.
told you to bet them.
I had a bad week.
My lock of the week is the over for the Purdue-Minnesota game, which is at 53 right now. I think Minnesota's got a really good offense, and they're going to score a lot of points. And they haven't been giving up that many points, but I think Purdue, they got a good quarterback, good wide receivers. They're going to score a lot of points too, and they'll cover that 53, or they'll hit the over on the 53 points.
Yeah, so my lock this week is Washington is only a 3-point favorite against UCLA. I would hammer Washington to cover that. I think UCLA is not that good of a team, even though they're undefeated. I think they kind of fall into that category of fraudulent. And Washington to cover a 3-point spread is, I think, easy money.
For me, I'm going to go ahead and take Minnesota to cover their spread of, I believe it is 12 right now from what I'm looking at on Barstool. Yep, 12. I think Minnesota's hot right now. I think they continue to roll over Purdue, and they're going to cover 12 points easily.
That bald guy.
Good locks there. Hopefully it's a good week for the bets. Next, let's get into our underdog of the week, +7 or greater dog that you think has the best chance for pulling off the upset. I got the Oregon State Beavers +10.5 versus Utah right now. I think Oregon State has showed they're legit, especially on defense, holding that USC offense to only 17 points, nearly winning the game. I think they got a shot to go into Utah and get the win.
So I have my underdog this week as Illinois is 7-point dogs to Wisconsin. I think Illinois looks really good this year, and I think Wisconsin looks really bad. Graham Mertz is a terrible quarterback, and I think Illinois has a legit chance to win this game. So I'm going with Illinois to win this game against Wisconsin as my underdog of the week. Things are just flowing too good right now.
Yeah. Underdog of the week here. I think you guys know where I'm going to go on this one. If I'm a ranked team, the last place I want to be is Kinnick Stadium. I mean, they got a history of upsets. I think Iowa's got a good chance to win it.
My lock of the week, this is different than the spreads I was sent, but Wake Forest has moved to +7. So I like Wake Forest to beat Florida State. I think Florida State's gotten the better of a few close games.
I love that.
I think that Wake Forest looked really good against the Clemson defense. That is very, very good. And Florida State doesn't have a defense that even comes near that Clemson defense. So I think Wake Forest definitely wins this game outright.
I'm also going with my boys, the Hawkeyes. The Kinnick magic is
Good
real.
dog.
Hopefully it works at 11 a.m. But
You know what
my
happens when you
boys to
bet on your
win,
own
so I'm
team,
gonna-
though?
you got to go with your own team. Manifestation, Devin. It's going to
Oh,
happen.
I have the worst luck if I bet on my own team.
Got to believe.
My dog this week. I know nothing about these two teams, to be honest with you, but UAB is favored by 10.5 to Rice. I think Rice could come back just because Luke McCaffrey, throw him in there. He's a wide receiver now. Who would have guessed that? Not me or anybody in Nebraska.
You're bitter about that, huh?
I think we all knew.
I am. I'm a little bit bitter about that, but yeah, I think Rice has got a good chance. Let Luke McCaffrey eat like his older brother, and hopefully he doesn't get injured out there.
McCaffrey just was not a good fit at quarterback. I think he
No.
knew that.
No,
I would love to see him thrive at wide receiver. You know, his dad was a receiver in the NFL for a long time, and Christian McCaffrey is a glorified receiver at the running back position in the NFL, and one of the best to do it when he's healthy. So I hope he does well. My underdog of the week is going to be the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Right now, they're dogs of 8 points to the Kansas State Wildcats. Both teams coming off of huge upsets, huge wins. One against Texas, the other against Oklahoma. I think this is going to be a dogfight. I think Texas Tech's going to get it done.
I like that a lot.
I do like that
Martinez
as well. I think
will make the mistake this week. He was
Yeah.
flawless against Oklahoma.
Guy's
I
always
think
been an
it'll-
Adrian hater.
I think
Never
it'll. I
stopped being
think
an
it.
Adrian hater.
I would love to see him succeed, but I think it's going to catch up to him.
I do too. I'm
All
an
right.
Adrian hater as well.
We're done Adrian hating.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
No
like
more of
Adrian.
it.
He's a great guy, great
love
leader.
Adrian.
Next, we're gonna get into our picks here. Brad, do you got a little update for us on the picks, maybe locks and underdogs too? What do you got here?
Yeah, so I can give the record from last week, how everybody did. So I'll go down the list here, and then last will be our guest picker, Nolan. So Max, he went 10 and 5, not 10 and 5, 10 out of 15. So 10 and 5. Isaiah went 12 and 3, which Isaiah, congratulations. You did do the best.
Well done, Isaiah. That's impressive.
Headley went 11 and 4. Connor went 10 and 5 as well. And then myself, I went 8 and 7. Bit of a bad week. Kind of went with Rutgers and Hawaii, unfortunately. And then Devin 7 and 8.
Bit of a bad
as
week.
well.
Bit of a bad week. You know, we're looking to bounce back.
Yeah, but we're not even picking spreads. We're
tough.
just picking straight up, man.
It's a
That was
marathon,
tough.
not a sprint.
So-
I'm gonna be ready till the end of the year. We're gonna get this going.
I would like to.
What did Spike
Hey.
end up with?
Yes. So Nolan went 9 and 6. So congrats to Nolan. He did. He's done the best so far.
He's our okay. Greg, you got to beat 9 and 6.
So I'd like to note that I went 12 and 3, but 2 of the games I lost, all of us went with Arkansas and all of us went with Oklahoma. So at least, those were close.
I mean,
I had money
yeah.
on that Oklahoma game.
Bradley, am I still in first place?
Yes.
Let me go through that here, Headley. So Headley, you are 38 and 18. Isaiah, you are 33 and 23. Max is 36 and 20. Connor is 33 and 23. Bradley is 31 and 25. And Devin is a whopping 28 and 28.
Hey, I'm
He is-
50 for 50
500
right now.
picker.
He is
Yeah.
on the bubble there. And then I can go quickly through our locks and underdogs for the season. So locks, Max is 3 and 1. Isaiah is 1 and 3. Headley is 2 and 2. Connor is 1 and 2. Bradley is 1 and 2. Devin is 2 and 1 for our locks. Pretty good by Max and
Ain't no
Devin there.
locks.
And then I will go through our dogs here. And Max, correct me if I'm wrong. Cover is the last number. So we'll go win the first number, lost the second number, cover this third number. So Max is 2, 1 and 1. Isaiah is a whopping 0-3-1. 3 losses, 1 cover. No wins. Just wanted to point that out there. Headley is 1-1-2. Connor is 1-1-1. Attaboy. Stay consistent there. Bradley is 1-2-1. And then Devin is also 0-2-1. So he's still looking for that underdog win. Same with Isaiah. And
Let's go Texas Tech.
that's that's our update for the records and how our picks did last week.
And I think I got the better pick here, Devin. NC State.
Hey, boys, you already know about that record. Georgia 28. Lock.
Let's get into some picks here.
Yeah, let's do some picks. First game, 4th-ranked Michigan, favored by 10.5 at Iowa. We're picking straight up here, okay? So we're not doing the spread, but I got Michigan winning this game. I'm sorry, fellas. I think I was going to keep it close, but give me the Wolverines.
I got the Wolverines too. Nothing more to say.
I got Iowa.
Yeah, I got Michigan.
The Hawkeyes.
I can't believe it. I'm gonna go Michigan.
I'm also going Michigan.
All right, some variety there. That's good to see. 7th-ranked Kentucky at Ole Miss. This is an 11 a.m. game. Man, and I could not decide on this one. I guess I'm just going to stick with Vegas here and take Ole Miss.
I disagree, Max. I like Kentucky.
I got Ole Miss. They're gonna eat that Kentucky line. They're gonna eat them, man.
Yeah, give me Ole Miss.
I'm also going with Ole Miss here.
I'm gonna go the Wildcats.
I am also going to take Kentucky.
Nice variety there, too. Love to see it. Next, we got Illinois and Wisconsin. Wisconsin only a 7-point favorite here. If you would have told me that going into the season, don't know that I would have quite believed you. I'm going to pick Wisconsin to win, but could be a close game.
So I have Illinois winning this game as my underdog of the week here. So I'm high on Illinois right now.
Silly pick, but I'm taking Wisconsin. I think they're gonna cover the spread too.
I got Wisconsin, but they don't cover.
Yep, I'm also going with Wisconsin here.
Yeah, I got to go the Badgers, even though Illinois is a pretty good team this year.
That pick could
I think
behave. What's up?
I think
my bad, Devin.
Wisconsin's. Yeah, what the hell? I think Wisconsin's going to rush for over 200 yards and secure the dub easily.
I was going to say that that could pay off big time for you guys if Illinois gets the upset
could.
there. So.
Give me one step closer to Headley here.
Next, Alabama, Arkansas. I would be surprised if someone took Arkansas here, but I would love the boldness, but I'm going to take Alabama.
So I know I said earlier that I love the Pigs, but I got to stick with the Tide here. Alabama's going to win.
Yeah, I got Bama.
Bama.
Bama's winning.
Yeah, Bama's going to win big, actually. I think Headley's not too far off from the winning by 40. Arkansas is about to get smacked down.
Roll Tide. Let's go, Bama.
Fair enough. Next, Rutgers at Ohio.
Unanimous picks have been cursed by us, though.
That's true. I kind of hope, you know what? I wouldn't even be mad if Arkansas.
I was going to say, we're going to be upset if Alabama
Isaiah's gaining
loses.
no ground on me.
Yeah. Next, we got Rutgers at Ohio State. This is a 40-point spread. This is our spread pick of the week. Does Ohio State cover that? I think 40 points is a little too much. Ohio State just beat Wisconsin by 31. I think Rutgers covers this, but barely.
I agree. I think that 40 points is a lot. Rutgers lost to Iowa, but those are two really good defensive teams. So I don't think Ohio State's going to cover. Just they are good, but I don't think they're covering.
Yeah, I think Rutgers has a good enough defense and punter to not lose by 40.
I don't think there's any way they're covering 40, so I got Rutgers.
I actually have Ohio State covering here.
40 is a large number, but give me the Buckeyes to cover, man.
40 is a large number indeed. Give me the Rutgers. Rutgers to cover here.
Next, Wake Forest and Rutgers. This could be a really close game. Hopefully they get this
Forest,
game off.
Florida
Florida State.
Wake Forest and who?
What? Jesus Christ.
Fake
Actually,
game.
Wake
okay.
Forest and Florida
fake-
State.
it was
Yeah, that was a
fake
fake
game.
game. I
Wait,
was looking back at the other game.
Wait,
Good
Max.
game, man.
Before we go on to this, can we go back one and ask about Oklahoma State and Baylor?
We did skip that.
Oh, I moved. Sorry,
Well,
I
it did
moved
get
that one
skipped.
down
You okay?
in my notes. Yeah, I updated the notes. I don't know if you. Sorry, are you looking at the Discord?
My
The
spreadsheet.
Google Drive.
Oh, gotcha. I did update my list, so I moved that one down as a little.
We'll wait for that.
Yeah, a little later.
All right, Wake Forest,
So-
Rutgers. I
Yeah,
got
sorry I
Rutgers
mixed
here.
you guys up now. Yeah. So next we got Alabama and Minnesota. Just kidding.
Give me Minnesota to cover.
Next we got Wake Forest and Florida State. This could be a pretty close game. Florida State's favored by 6. I am going to go with Wake Forest. Vegas upset, not the 8 people upset though.
We got Florida State. I think Wake Forest played really good against Clemson, but I think Florida State has a better defense. So I don't think they'll cover it. No, it's like a 6-point spread. So
I got Florida
You
State
think
as well.
Florida State's got a better defense than Clemson?
yeah,
Bad take.
I got Florida State here, but are there odds on if the game is played? Because that's my pick, is that the game doesn't get played.
You could probably bet that somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know what they even do. I think, does your bet like get pushed whenever the game gets played?
I think it would just
no contest.
Probably just give you your money back.
no contest.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
probably have to rebet it. But if anything, I think they moved the game to Thursday, like you were saying, Headley. If, like I said, they would have to make the call tonight or tomorrow. I haven't checked anything online recently, so
Does Florida State play better in a hurricane? Do we know?
I don't know.
Middle
What if
Tennessee
Iowa-
State does.
What do they run like?
What
60
if
Huskers.
the Eye of the Storm's like on the stadium the whole game? Anyways, I got Wake Forest outright. That's my underdog of the week.
Going with Vegas here. I got Florida State.
Give me the Demon Deacons.
Such a stupid mascot.
I think that is a sick ass name for a mascot. I am taking the Demon Deacons
It's
all the
a-
way.
Deacon, but
Their
it's a
perf-
demon. It's a what?
Their performance against Clemson is just too impressive to ignore. I think they're pissed off that they lost. They keep rolling, and they beat Florida State pretty easily.
Fair enough. I do like the Demon Deacons. I think it's stupid, but also awesome at the same time. Next, Iowa State and Kansas. Cyclones favored by 3.5. Give me Kansas to keep rolling. That offense is too good. Jalen Daniels is playing out of his mind.
Greg, this one's for you, man. Let's go Jayhawks. I love them.
I'll get involved in this hype a little bit. I got Kansas.
I would be worried because I know have these bets go south a little bit at a time, but he bet Kansas last week. He's doing it again. Obviously, I got Kansas. That's my lock of the week. Offense is too good. Lawrence is going to be rocking.
Sorry, Greg, but I got Iowa State winning this one.
That's disgusting as an Iowa fan. Rock chalk, baby. Let's go Kansas.
You love a good bird matchup.
You could kind of consider that I'm buying into it just a little bit because I think Kansas is going to win this one.
Wow, Connor, the only one
third
there taking
Iowa.
the Cyclones.
Only one.
That's
Next-
crazy.
Michigan State, Maryland, kind of an intriguing Big Ten East matchup. I think Michigan State's in some trouble. I got Maryland.
Michigan State is a fraud team. Once again, it's Maryland winning this game.
Mel Tucker turns it around. I got Michigan State.
I got Maryland.
I also got Maryland.
I got Maryland. I think they're a good team.
My reasoning is the exact same as Jacob. I think this is the week that Mel Tucker turns it around. Michigan State gets the big dub.
Devin, you've been picking Michigan State like every week.
Hey, I think this is their week to do it. Okay.
Hey,
like-
just because of that, Maryland.
I just
might be
gotta
locked.
ride. I gotta ride the train. Okay. I can't.
Yeah,
turn
fair
my back
enough.
I
on
do.
them.
It's
Fair
like-
enough.
Dude, I do
It's
think
like
it's
picking
ridiculous.
Nebraska. Jesus.
Dude, Maryland came within 2 touchdowns of Michigan. Now you guys are just all Maryland. I mean, come on.
I'm not all
think-
Maryland. I think I'm all Michigan State.
Yeah.
Doo-doo.
Dude, I
just
just
think
think
they're
Maryland's
bad.
better than Wazoo, dude. And Michigan State lost to them at home, right? So
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll
Michigan
see.
State still has a bottom 10 pass defense in the country, so that hasn't changed.
I mean, they've had a tough slate.
No,
No.
they played Western
Yeah.
Michigan and Akron.
Listen, man, let me make up some fake stats.
Hey, we got
What
Purdue
the
and
show's all about is fake stats, fake games.
It's fake games and fake stats.
fake
We
game, fake
don't know
stats.
anything.
We'll have a fake game pick from here on out coming up. Next, we got Purdue and Minnesota. I think the Gophers keep it rolling. 12 points might be on par. Don't know that to cover, but I do have Minnesota outright.
Give me that bald head guy. Minnesota is winning.
I got PJ Fleck as well.
Purdue's quarterback is out. I think Minnesota kills them.
Oh wow.
Wow, now that makes me kind of worried for the over that I picked on this game. It's my lock. I didn't know that Aiden O'Connell was
Well,
out
that's
here.
what you were talking about when you said he's hurt. I didn't in the
Yeah,
comments.
I was trying to warn you. I was trying to warn you, Connor. I really was.
Yeah,
I was
I
really
didn't,
trying
I
to
didn't
warn
know
you.
that, but anyways, I got Minnesota winning here. Over
me
still
P-
hitting.
Give me give me PJ Fleck Jr. I think Minnesota's a very good team. So they're just gonna keep rolling.
This was my lock of the week. I think Minnesota rolls. They covered 12 easily. And now that I know that their Purdue's quarterback's out, I'm smashing that fucking bet button. Let's go Minnesota.
So what's
Wow.
gonna happen? We've picked Purdue 2 times now. Everybody's picked Purdue. We lost. Now we're picking against them. Are they
Purdue's a
gonna bite us?
lock.
They're gonna bite us in the ass, man. We're screwed.
I think
I
we
would
all
go to
picked
Baylor.
Purdue.
Week 0
One
and
week
week
and they
3.
won.
No,
No, that does not happen.
they're 0-2 against it. Or we're 0-2 against all picking Purdue now.
I could have swore I saw something the other day that we had at least won. Yeah,
We all-
week 3. Week 3.
What?
It's all green in the spreadsheet.
Who'd they play?
Purdue played
Syracuse.
Syracuse.
Syracuse
We're-
won.
Syracuse won.
Syracuse
Yeah.
won that
Well, then
game.
that's on Brad
That's-
for making
that's
that
on
shit
me.
green.
No, it's red, Devin. You can't tell?
Bullshit.
It's red. You
Oh
can't
my
tell?
God.
He's a
Devin.
colorblind. Oh,
This guy's
my God.
colorblind.
Colorblind.
he's colorblind.
Dude.
No,
Devin,
no.
look at
This
numbers, not
guy.
colors.
I forgot you're
This
actually
guy.
colorblind. Like
That's
that,
crazy. That's
That's
crazy.
hilarious.
You
Anyway.
just switched it. You just switched it.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my
such
God.
Brad.
It was
That is
green. It was green.
Yeah,
that was
you
was
got me
mean.
sweating here. You got me
Oh,
sweating here. I was
Jesus.
like,
All right, hey
I was
Brad,
like,
you have to
damn,
get
that shit looks like
Sorry.
light green.
Guys,
That was
everybody
actually hilarious.
take off a win for everybody. It's still this the same.
Oh my gosh. That means I'm under 500.
You are
You gotta
done
get-
for, Devin.
Wait,
You gotta
that one,
give me that-
that one was counting for us?
That was
Yeah.
counting for us on accident.
Oh my
Let me
God.
double check this.
You got to give me that one back. Just for
Why
Syracuse
did
fucking-
it go
win
to
that game.
basketball? Why did it go?
They did win that game. I bet on Purdue and they
Doesn't-
did not.
Pretty
Nice.
astounding collapse by Purdue as well in that
I
game.
bet on Purdue
Yes, it was.
against Penn State, and that was a pretty sad game as well.
I
Kind of a
also
bad
thought
beat.
Purdue was going to beat Penn State.
Brad's slacking on his
All
other
right.
job here, man.
That's
Also,
my
I want to
bad.
reiterate. I just looked it up. O'Connell is being talked about where he might play, but it doesn't sound like he's going to play.
I still think they covered
Might
12.
do a Jay Herbo. Shoot him up with something before the game.
They said
20.
we'll
As
see
long as it's-
later in the week where it's at.
As long as it's not Tyrod Taylor.
True.
All
Or
right.
maybe they'd have a better backup. We don't know yet.
Yeah. Or a better doctor.
Interesting picks there with that game. Little side note here too. Minnesota is number 1 in the country in offensive and defensive third down conversions. They're converting 80% of their third downs on offense and stopping 86% of third downs on defense. That's astounding.
That's,
Yeah.
Wow.
Next, Oklahoma State and Baylor, Big 12 rematch, championship game rematch from last year, game of the week, I think. I got the Baylor Bears. I know some of you guys are high on Oklahoma State. I think Baylor's a really good team right now.
I disagree, Max. I'm very high on Oklahoma State. I picked them to be my Big 12 championship winner this year. They're going to do it. They're going to beat the Baylor Bears and Dave Aranda.
I got Oklahoma State. You already know.
I think this is an interesting game. I think that Baylor comes out with it though.
Yep, give me the Baylor Bears.
Give me Baylor.
I'm not buying into anything Dave Aranda does until he signs a contract with us. So I am going Pokes all the way, baby.
Next, we got NC State and Clemson. Game day's headed here. Night game on ABC. Top 10 matchup. Clemson's favored by 7. I want to pick NC State so bad. I want NC State to win this game, but I'm going to pick Clemson to win.
So like I said earlier, this is my game of the week. I think whoever wins this game is going to win the ACC championship. I have NC State winning this. This was also going to be my second pick for the underdog of the week. I'm pretty high on NC State right now.
I've got Clemson. I think DJ Yungalungale could win any single game he plays good in. I think Clemson wins.
Yeah, Isaiah, I think you're a fool. I'm going with Clemson. I just think NC State is a bunch of frauds. I don't think their resume is that good.
Yep, I'm going with Ukulele and the Clemson Tigers.
I'll be honest, I don't know why this wasn't my underdog of the week. Did not realize Clemson was 7-point favorites, but I got NC State. Right, I'm still riding Rice as my underdog, but I got NC State.
I'm also riding the Wolfpack. You know, I'm still not over them kind of getting the early can out of the CWS. So I'm rooting for their football team to get a big upset this weekend.
I think we should all take into consideration that this will also probably be a hurricane game. Who wins the hurricane game? Clemson
It could be a downpour.
or
Exactly.
NC State.
We do got to
gonna be a dogfight
with the hurricane games this week.
I'm hoping it's going to be similar to the Bears 49ers week 1 game, because that was as much of a rushing game it was. Oh man, that was fun to watch.
Oh, they're going to be swimming out there, man.
Do you guys think a pack of wolves would beat Tigers or no?
Yes, 100%.
If you put a pack of wolves against one tiger,
Wolves
yes.
routinely beat Tigers.
Really?
But they're the Clemson
happens every day,
Tigers.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
plural. So
It's
there's at
plural.
least 2.
Yeah, but a wolf pack can be 100 wolves.
Tigers.
Yeah,
Against-
how many is in a
against
pack?
what?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Against what? 5 tigers?
I don't know.
How
There's
good's the
unlimited
Wolfpack's
Tigers.
defense?
It's just plural. There's unlimited Tigers.
I mean, if it's a pack of wolves, that's a good team, right? You'd think that's a pack. Tigers
Yeah,
could be. The Tigers might not even like each other.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Exactly.
that Wolfpack, there's probably a lot of camaraderie in that bunch.
Tight-knit group there for the Wolfpack. Moving on to Indiana at Nebraska. The Scurs now 5.5-point favorite in Lincoln. This is a night game. Should be a pretty decent atmosphere. We'll give a score prediction for this one too. And Greg, if you want to give a score for this one, you can. If you want, you can backtrack too and give us maybe a Kansas Iowa State score too, if you see fit. But I'm going to choose Nebraska to win this. Little bit of a homer pick. Give me the Huskers 31-30.
So most of us are going to this game, but I'm very nervous about it. I do have the Huskers winning this game. 6.5-point spread. They're not going to cover. I have a score prediction of 28-24, but I'm still super nervous about this. I know it's the last game we're favored for the season, but anything can happen here.
Yeah, I know that I'm a Husker fan, but at the end of the day, I'm on an unbiased professional sports podcast. So I've got Indiana winning 38-35.
I really like that score. I didn't understand the notes that Headley sent me, so I don't have a score for that one. But I can tell you that I think the Kansas game is going to go very similar to the Duke game. I think it'll be 35-28, and I'll just throw out a score for Nebraska. I think they'll score 28, and Indiana will score 31.
Ooh.
So I'm actually almost the exact same score that Greg had. I had Indiana winning 31-29. Sorry, boys. I don't think the Huskers can get it done.
Gosh, we are at the end of the day running a professional sports media company. I am going to go Nebraska 33-31. It's going to be close, but I'm like weirdly not nervous about this game, as nervous as I was with Georgia Southern. It might just be because I'm numb to the pain at this point with Nebraska, but give me Nebraska.
I am also going to take Nebraska, and I think my score prediction is going to be 38-24. Go Big Red.
Wow. For such a Husker hater sometimes, Devin, you gotta.
I'm a realist, but
Yeah,
sometimes I
yeah.
do like to sip the Kool-Aid.
Dude, you didn't just sip the Kool-Aid there. You made it and you
Dude.
chugged it.
I like
Brad
how
was
right
talking
now.
about
I
No,
like how
West
right now
earlier this week.
chugging Kool-Aid is a 38-24 win over Indiana. That's great.
We need it.
I think Scott
Chugging
Frost
on
culture
Kool-Aid.
loses after a bye week. I think the changes that Mickey Joseph has implemented,
Bill Bush too.
the firing of Eric Shenander, Bill Bush stepping up as the DC, I think we're going to see guys excited to get back out on the field, and I think they're going to put on a show.
Very excited for this game. I think this is one of the last pretty good chances Nebraska has to win this year. But who knows? College football's chaos. They can win another game or two. They could also not win another game at all. But excited for this one. Should be a good atmosphere in Lincoln. Isaiah, go ahead and end this off here.
Well, I was going to say, hopefully this is the one game the rest of the season that I stay for the entire game because, I have
You
yet
better.
to. I haven't stayed for an entire Nebraska game yet. So hopefully
We will
stick
tie
it
you
out.
down to your seat.
Yeah.
For you to watch
Chains.
whatever pain we're going through or whatever triumph we are going through.
Hey,
You
as
will
long
stay.
as you're winning, as long as we're winning,
You
I'll
will
be there.
stay.
If it's
Especially
a
'cause
close game, if it's
We're
a
going to be
close
sitting
game,
with the Indiana fans. We're going to be almost Hoosiers that day, possibly, but who knows?
I will say it sucks sitting with the North Dakota fans. I hated that.
It's okay.
Well, does anybody else have anything else before we sign out?
Oh
here?
yeah, I got something. This is almost breaking news. I just saw this about half an hour ago. Trev Alberts just announced that they will be reworking Herbie Husker and modernizing the design. He's gonna have the blonde hair, corn chucks around him. I'm excited. Are you guys excited?
Very.
No.
Mm, I don't
You
know.
guys aren't hype about this. I was very excited when I read this. More excited.
pretty
than any of
indifferent
our
about it.
Nebraska
I was-
hasn't had a new logo of any sorts in a long time. I think it's pretty cool.
Herbie sucks, man. He
They
sucks.
should become
I
the
don't
bug
know.
eaters again.
I like the tradition. I don't like changing.
Oh!
Changing
Breaking
What do you mean the
tradition.
news
tradition?
right
They're
now,
reworking
too.
it to the original.
Breaking news that I'm just seeing right now too. Nebraska Athletic Director Trev Alberts announces the Indiana game is officially sold out.
God, that sucks.
Sell streak continues.
Let it
386
continue,
games.
boys. I'm still on train to let it die, but that's awesome.
386 games, I believe, is what it's at now.
Yes, sir.
Well, anything else, boys?
I hope the Herbie thing would generate a little bit more hype, but I guess nobody really cares about Herbie, huh?
I
That's
love
tough.
Herbie, man.
I just hate Lil Red. I'm glad that's done, but Herbie's sorry. Ready for
I-
a new one.
Dude, I love Little Red.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
God, that is
Okay,
a
what
Of course
bad
you do. Of
take
course
right
you do,
there.
little Debbie. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Take her away.
Well, I want to give a big shout out to Greg this week for joining us again. I know he's in a different time zone, so he's up a little bit later than us. So, Greg, thanks for
Greg.
joining us.
Thank you, Greg.
I'd be on any time.
Thanks for sticking it out, Greg. Appreciate you coming out.
I know.
Thanks for having me.
I know most of us here are high on Kansas, besides Headley. So we love Kansas. I know I love Kansas so far this year. I also want to shout out to our listeners and viewers for continuing support for the podcast. It's our 6th episode. We're having a lot of fun with this, so we enjoy you guys sticking it out, listening to us, and watching us on YouTube now. If you've missed an episode, it's never too late to go back. I know on Spotify you can go back to week 0. This episode on Apple Podcasts, you can go back to, I believe it's week 1. YouTube, we only have week 4 and now week 5 out. But you can check us out there. Remember again, Twitter we are at Power 6 Podcast. Instagram, we are at the Power 6 Podcast. And then on YouTube, we are the Power 6 Podcast. Same logo for all. Hope you all have a fun and safe weekend again. And as always, go Big Red.
Go Hawks. And Jayhawks.
And rock chalk.
Yes, sir.
Rock chalk. But don't say the rest.
Yeah. Don't say the rest, apparently. Good shit, boys.